What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is RuPaul's Drag Race, Season 11, Episode 1. So let me say a few things before we get started. First of all, it's 15 bitches, okay? So if y'all think that I'm getting ready, I needed a damn Excel spreadsheet, okay? To write their names, and then all the stuff to go. I can't do it. It took them 20 minutes just to do the introductions, okay? So I'm going to go through the names, but I cannot give y'all a breakdown for every single queen for these first couple of weeks. I'm just going to be real with 15. Y'all know it's going to be a double elimination episode. You know it's going to have to be one. Just a lot. It was a lot. But it was a good episode. It was a good start to the season. But look, let me just go on and break it down for you. I'm giving y'all names. I ain't giving y'all, names, age, sex, location. I ain't got time for all that either. Vanjie's back. If you didn't already know, I mean, the names have been out there, so it's no secret that Vanjie is back. She was invited back. And they would have been a fool not to bring her back. Because who else in drag history has ever... I challenge any of y'all to name me the first queen that went home in any season other than Vanjie's. I'll wait. Exactly. That's why she's back. Nina West, Sugar Cane, Plastic Tiara, Mercedes, Amon Diamond, Scarlet Envy, Honey Davenport. Let me tell you something. There's a whole lot of Davenports, okay? The House of Davenport is very well represented, okay? O'Hara Davenport. What's her name? Evie Oddly, I think I said that right. Silky Ganache, Brooklyn Heights. I said hits, y'all. Ariel, what did I say? I can't even read my own handwriting. Versace, Lord, Versace. Anyway, Kaya O'Hara, Kahana Montrese. That's Coco Montrese's daughter, and Suju. Okay, so look. As the queens came in, now what's funny was Vanjie was the first one to get there. Vanjie said, "I'm gonna hide. I want to see what the rest of these bitches gonna do when they come through the door, right?" And you have a good mixture. We have New York. That one season, I think that was season 9, where it seemed like everybody was from New York except for like 4 people. So they have a good mixture. They have people from New York. They seem to have a lot of pageant queens this season. And in the past, it almost seemed like pageant queens were frowned upon. So I'm glad that they're embracing pageant queens and not making it out to be something bad, because I don't think there's anything. I like a good pageant. And like I said, a good mixture. They have a couple of plus size queens. They have a couple of Asian Americans. So it's a good little stirring up the pot. So, and as with everything, some people knew each other, some didn't. Some are people that are very well known in drag and on social media and stuff like that. So it was a pretty good mixture. Now, like I said, I can't give y'all a breakdown on every single person that walked in the door. A couple of people stood out more than others, but it is what it is. You can definitely tell who they're grooming to be stars of the season, and who, I don't know, may fall by the wayside. But it's too early for me to make any predictions in one way or the other, because you know how this stuff can switch up. So, the mini challenge was that they were going to have their first photo shoot. Ru walks in the door, and of course, they do the whole woo, 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 And their first mini challenge is a photo shoot, right? And of course, Vanjie, y'all know Vanjie is the queen of the one-liners anyway. Vanjie was like, I know she about to throw some shit in the sauce. Like, I know it ain't going to be just a photo shoot. There's something going on. And what it was, when they went in to take their picture, they were the creative director. Ru said, my photographer is going to take what you going to do what you tell him to do. You are the creative director. But the twist was, there was another queen that came in from past seasons to pose with them. So let me just go. Now, I did write that down, okay? So with Vanjie, we have Pheromone. Nina West was Raven. Sugar Cane had Jasmine Masters. Plastique Tiara had Sonique. Mercedes had Delta Work. Scarlet had Raja. Honey Davenport had Manila Luzon. The name I could never get right in All Stars for like the first 3 weeks. O'Hara Davenport had more black, sorry. Evie Oddly had Adore Delano. They were definitely a perfect pair. Silky Ganache had yeah, I can't read my own handwriting. Maria Balenciaga. Brooklyn Heights had Angina. Ariel had Eureka. Kaya O'Hara had Ginger Minge. Kahana had... That's the one I missed. My DVR skipped, and I didn't get hers. And then Suju had Pork Chop. So, I thought... The person who I thought was going to win was... I thought the person who was going to win was going to be Vanjie, because Vanjie ended up posing Pheromone behind her, and she kept herself front and center of all the pictures, and it even looked like she had Pheromone sort of turn around, like, I don't even want your face in my picture. And so I thought that's who was going to win, because they were going to say, you know, you did a good job of making sure you stayed the center of attention. But the person who won was Silky. Okay, Silky is the plus size queen. We're going to get to Silky in a minute. So she won the mini challenge, and she got a nice little prize, a $2,500 gift card for wigs, honey. I ain't mad. As the seasons go on, these prizes get better. These little mini challenge, maxi challenge prizes get better and better, honey. And I'm not mad at you. Ru know how to get a product placement. So we get back to the workroom the next day, and the maxi challenge it's sort of a spin on the unconventional challenge. All of their luggage got lost, you know, hypothetically, right? And they had trunks from past queens that they could use to create a look. The challenge, though, was that you embodied the spirit of who was in of whose trunk you had, but the look is still 100% your aesthetic. You know, it's like you're channeling the other person, but you're still keeping your aesthetic. And because Silky won, Silky was able to pick the trunk. So she got to pick the first trunk, and then she gave out the trunks. I am not getting ready to go through the whole list of who got whose trunk, okay? But I will say that she picked Peppermint for herself, and then she gave out the trunks accordingly. And what she said was, she said, I'm not even trying to sabotage nobody. Like, let you win on your own merit. I want to pair people with who I think they would, their aesthetic would match with their aesthetic. Like, I ain't trying to trip nobody up. And she did. She pretty much paired people with what she thought, I guess, their aesthetic would be, you know. And at first I was like, But then I thought about it, and I said, you know what? If you screw up with the trunk of the person who you're the most like, that would kind of, yeah, I could see how the judges might be like, well, damn, you know, that's kind of your aesthetic. How did you screw that up? The first thing, I'm going to get to Silky in a minute. But the one thing I did notice that something I remember seeing, and I want to say it was Maddie Rant's review. Shout out to Maddie Rant and Jamar84. I want to say it was in his review when he was talking about that he wished we would get back to, like, seeing the sewing and seeing like the front line of the challenges, because, you know, remember the first couple of seasons when they had to do the unconventional challenge, and and you actually saw them sewing and putting these outfits together. They didn't show up with a trunk full of gowns pre-made, pre-ready for every look, because, you know, they tell them you're gonna need this, and a runway's gonna be denim, a runway's gonna be this, so they can come with outfits already ready for these runways. Whereas in those first couple of seasons, they didn't have all that foreshadowing. They had to sort of just bring what they had, and if they ain't had something, they had to make something. And you saw how some queens died. They lived or died by the sewing machine. And so this episode, I feel like we sort of went a little bit back to those roots, because, see, y'all didn't have all them trunks. So you couldn't go into your repertoire and pull out something and say, boom, here it is. You had to make something. And it tripped up some of those queens. Now, I do think the majority of the queens have learned their lesson, and most of them did take a couple of sewing lessons or two. Some of them know how to sew, period, already, because Vanjie pulled that sewing machine out, honey, and put that spool on and kept it moving. She worked that thing out. So I think that people took that into, you know, people definitely took heed to that. And I thought it made for a very interesting workroom. Now, again, let's get to Miss Silky. Now, I purposely did not watch I didn't watch the preview show. I didn't watch any reviews of the preview show. Because honestly, I wanted my first time to meet the queens to be this. I wanted it to be this organic, in the episode. I didn't want to look at a whole hour and a half of meeting them and all. I didn't want to know that much information. I wanted to get to know the queens as we went through the season, right? But Silky's name kept coming up. I kept hearing Silky's name in the air, and I was like, okay, let me see this Silky. Now, first of all, Miss Silky told you from the very beginning in her confessional that she was here for a spinoff. She was like, I want a spinoff, or I want a cooking show, or I want, what is the other thing she said she wanted? A cooking show or a comedy show or something like that. She said she is a comedy queen, and she makes no bones about it. She not making no excuses about it. She not going to tell you no lie. And it was very evident that everything she was doing was for camera time. To the point where it was funny because even Ru said something about, somebody's trying to get a spinoff. I said, yeah, people think Ru, I know Ru has gotten a reputation as being very hands-off of this show at this point. But some things is very clear that she is still very much hands-on. She still looks at those audition tapes. And she definitely gets, if she doesn't look at them herself, she certainly gets the notes and the edits of these confessionals. Because it was very interesting to me that she specifically said, oh, well, we know that Miss Silky is trying to get herself a spinoff. And Silky said it in her confessional that she was trying to get a spinoff. Yeah, that was, Silky, better watch yourself. Silky was extra. And when I say extra, as one of the Davenports said, she was the captain of Team Too Much. And she was. Do I think she was being herself? I think 70 to 80% of that was, I think that is who she talks a lot. She has a big personality. She's a big girl that comes in the room and definitely lets herself be heard, seen, and known. But I also think that she's trying to get camera time. And I also think that them queens better watch her. Just because you peeped her tea doesn't mean it's not gonna be successful for her. Just because she's annoying to y'all in the workroom doesn't mean that the judges won't fall in love with her or that Ru won't fall in love with her. Don't get it twisted. She could be, I've seen it before. It's a whole lot of queens that, to me, in the workroom were annoying as hell. Look at Eureka. Eureka irritated everybody's soul. And look at what Eureka has done. You see what I'm saying? So, I was like, yeah, I'm peeping you. And you better watch yourself because you're walking a thin line. But that doesn't automatically mean that this won't work for you. Okay? But yeah, I got my eye on Miss Silky. So, Miley Cyrus was the guest judge this week. And Miley, you could tell she's a super fan. Miley is a super fan. And she was going to get all of the experience of being a judge on Drag Race. She said she's been watching since season 1. And she said, she's glad that she discovered the show before it got mainstream. Because she was like, I've been watching since season 1. That badass filter from season 1, honey. And so she dressed up as one of the crew so she could go backstage and kind of hang out with the queens and kind of blend in and kind of see. She just, again, you could tell she's just such a super fan. And so she was talking to one of the Davenports. Like I said, it's about 4 of the Davenports, honey. She was talking to one of the Davenports. They were saying that they had to adjust her mic or whatever. And of all people, Silky peeped it. Silky said, she said, come here for a minute. Come here for a minute. Now, mind you, Miley got the mustache and the beard and the hat over her and no makeup and all that stuff. She didn't tape her boobs down, so it was clear that she was a woman because the boobs was there. But anyway, it's Drag Race. It could be, that don't mean nothing either. So, Silky peeped her. And a minute, and again, in true Silky fashion, went extra. I mean, she got to hollering and hugging her. She done threw Miley up in the air. She done got Miley riding on her back. She running through the workroom talking about, I'm a knock you over like a wrecking ball. I said, of all the people to figure out that that was really Miley Cyrus, it had to be Silky, right? And of course, Silky was just had let it be known. She let it be known that it was her. So, a couple of things went down in the workroom. I can't dwell on it too much. Soju, Vanjie tried to let Miss Soju know that cause Soju was trying to do this classic Vietnam aesthetic with a lot of tulle and a very big booth like type dress. And Vanjie tried to let her know, look, I did that last year. You definitely want to still cinch and show them some curves and let them see something. Like, that's not, don't get caught up, but, some people just think they know. And at first I was like, Vanjie giving out a lot of tips, but when you confident in what you're doing, I guess it doesn't really matter. You don't have to throw salt on other people. And she was really legitimately trying to help people, help the people out. So, Miss the other big girl, what's her name? Scarlet Envy. I believe it was Miss Scarlet Envy. She got in her head. She was like, I'm not a big sewer, but I do know how to sew a little bit. But she just got in her own head, and you could tell that she couldn't make something work. Miss Silky was too busy working the room, honey. She didn't pay a whole lot of attention to her garment, and people was noticing that. People were like, she more concerned about getting camera time than working on her garment. She need to get over there and get on that garment. So, excuse me. So, Molly is your guest judge. We have Ross, Ross, Carson, and Michelle Visage. I don't know why Michelle Visage's name dropped right out of my head. Now, I wasn't crazy about Rue's wig this week, but I did love that dress. I loved that dress she had on, honey. Alright, so, let's go. Again, it's 15 of them. Y'all not about to get a breakdown of all 15 looks. That ain't my review. I'm sorry. Go on over and watch my mother, James Caldwell, if you want the breakdown of all the looks, because I'm going to just read y'all what I wrote for my notes. So we have Plastique Tiara. She had a flower bodysuit, which I thought was safe. Brooklyn Heights, I put a check next to hers. That means that I loved it. I loved her look. Superhero body is what I wrote. Honey Davenport, I wrote, not too cute to me. Ariel Versace, she had a Poison Ivy thing going on, like a green bodysuit with the whole ode to Poison Ivy. Evie Oddly, I wrote I loved her hair. That's all I got. Ahara Davenport, I had a check next to, and I said Mohawk, and I wrote Goddess. She looked like, her look to me was an ode to Storm. Like, if I had to picture what Storm would have looked like, she had these black chaps, and she had this neck piece. And when I say she had a mohawk for the gods, honey, okay, that thing was everything. Her and Brooklyn were my two favorite looks, and we're going to get to the two of them in a minute. Scarlet Envy, I didn't have nothing, which means that she didn't do nothing for me. Soju, I wrote a whole lot of tulle. Aja O'Hare, she was like had a little disco queen thing going on. You could see her with some roller skates on at the skating rink, honey, 30 years ago. Mercedes Diamond, I wrote a blue bodysuit. I liked her bodysuit, but it was something that didn't wow me, but her outfit was okay to me. Sugar Cane, I wrote she had a black dress on with a little pink tulle underneath. Safe. A little black cocktail dress, very frilly, and then, had the little pink tulle underneath. It was safe. Vanjie had this red bodysuit cut down here, honey. She was cinched for the gods. She was like, what you won't do is get me this year or not being cinched, and you won't see my body. Yes, you will. You're going to see all of it. And I thought she looked good. She wasn't my favorite look, but I definitely figured she was going to be safe. Whenever somebody comes back, the fear is always they'll be the first one to leave, but not tonight. Silky, all I wrote was sequin. Now, Silky had on, in my opinion, a not-so-great pencil skirt with a cape with sequins on it. It wasn't my favorite look. It didn't do nothing for me. Nina West, she had on this orange dress that, again, it didn't do nothing for me. Kahani Montrese, I hated her look. It was like a bodysuit that was cut here with the bra showing, and I hated it. It did nothing for me. So, honestly, the judges pretty much agreed with me this week, which never happens. I don't know what it is that but the top two, because again, y'all, I can't go through all of it. It's too many. It's 15 of them. We can't do it. But the top two was Brooklyn and the one I said had the mohawk. Yeah, Davenport. Y'all, I'm gonna get the names. Allura Davenport. Part of it is I can't read my handwriting. But anyway, they were in the top, and Brooklyn ended up being the winner for that week, which for this week, which I 100. If it had been either one of them, I would have agreed with it, and I definitely agreed with who was at the top. The bottom ended up being Soji and Coco Montrese's daughter, Kahani Montrese. Now, let me say a few things before I get to the lip sync. When they were going through, whenever they go through the critiques, people say what they have to say. Now, I think what saved Scarlet, because her outfit was hideous. One, she accepted it. She said, I'm not comfortable in what I have on. I am not happy with what I created, but I have auditioned for this for 9 years. And I'm so disappointed and worried that I will be the first one to leave after putting so much into this. And of course she got very emotional on the runway, and I really think that's what saved her. Her personality saved her, because I think she definitely was borderline to be up for elimination, but I think that is what saved her. I'm gonna say Miss Montrese, what put her in the bottom, I think, was her. She was making it seem like because of who her drag mother was, that she just didn't, that she's never able to show who she really is, because she's always being compared to her drag mother. And I feel like she was sort of name dropping, like everybody knows who your drag mother is. Your damn last name is Montrese. We know who your mother is. Then she said that she found the challenge hard because she was trying to incorporate, who did she have? Oh shit. Anyway, it don't matter. She was trying to incorporate her person into her look, but that wasn't the challenge. The challenge was, and Ru was very clear to say, your look should be 100% you, but that you are taking on the spirit of the person who you have. Like, for example, Vanessa had Valentina. She didn't try to be Valentina. However, her outfit, I could have seen Valentina in her season wearing. Now, Valentina in All Stars wouldn't have wore that. But Valentina in her season, I definitely could have seen her wear that. So, you know what I mean? That's kind of what she was trying to say. So and Ru said, well, that wasn't the challenge. So you failed at doing something you weren't supposed to be doing. Now, Miss Soji gave us way too much information about herself, okay? I don't even really want to repeat it, but let's just say it involves a cyst being in a part of the body that's probably very uncomfortable, and how it popped on the plane. And that's all I'm going to leave y'all with, because she told me way too much. So the lip sync came down to, the song was The Best of Both Worlds by Hannah Montana. And I kind of knew, for a couple of reasons, I kind of knew which way this lip sync was going. First of all, Soji couldn't move in that damn dress. All that tulle and stuff, she couldn't move. So I was like, you didn't even give yourself a back door, meaning you didn't create the garment to the point where you could take some of that tulle off if you had the lip sync and still sort of do your thing. And so, I mean, there was one part in the lip sync where you saw her trying to walk and she couldn't even she was pulling her dress up and she just couldn't do anything. Then the other reason why I kind of saw which way this was going is because Montrese, she described herself as hip-hop something, drag hip-hop something. So I said, okay, I guess she got a little hip to her, a little dance to her, a little jig to her. So the song comes on, and it's pretty obvious immediately which way this lip sync is going. Because like I said, I don't think Soji did a bad job. I don't. She definitely was giving you some, but a couple of times it looked like she might not have had the words 100% down pat. And Montrese was making sure she was enunciating every syllable, honey. I mean, she was giving it to you. There was no mistaking whether she knew the words to that song. And of course, she was all over the stage because she was mobile. She could move. She was doing flips. She didn't do a death drop, but she definitely did a flip and gave you some, she gave you a couple of combination, 2-step, 1-step, ball chain, boom, so that it was pretty obvious that she was going to Shantae, you stay. And Soji was the first to go home. I do think it was a really good episode. I'm not going to blend in Untucked, but the one thing I am going to say from Untucked is a couple of the queens let it be known that they got a problem with Miss Vanjie being back. And again, in true Vanjie style, Vanjie said when they brought up the fact that she was brought back, Vanjie was like, I'm not the first queen to be invited back. Y'all don't watch the show? I said, ooh. Because she right. She not the first one to come back. She said, and, I was invited back. Who would have said no? You know what I mean? Like, who would have said, nah, that's all right, I ain't going to go back. She said, I was here for one episode. Like, I act like I got the keys to the kingdom. So, I just found that to be very interesting. But other than that, nothing real big went down in Untucked. Of course, they kind of put Silk, they let Silky know she was getting on their nerves, but Silky don't give a fuck. So, she don't care that she's getting on their nerves. She really doesn't. So, anyway, that's how it all went down, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.